Talk about change you can believe in. What a wild ride the president's taking us on. Have you ever gone on a ride in an amusement park that you stand in line outside and you go in and you get on and it throws you up and down and around and spins you around and down a waterfall or up to the top of a mountain, down the other side in the dark, and then zoom, out you come. Only the exit is nowhere near where the entrance was, and you get out and you're kind of disoriented, don't know where you are. That's kind of what I feel like now. Look at, in foreign policy, we have the Chinese, they're hesitating, balking at financing our national debt and irresponsible spending. They don't want us to devalue our currency, but that's happening anyway because the Fed's printing so fast. North Korea has backed out of the armistice that ended the Korean War, or rather the United Nations police action. But the war was never ended. A truce was declared. There's a demilitarized zone to this day that has United States troops and South Korean troops facing North Korean troops on the opposite side. Each side with weapons on a hair trigger ready for action at a moment's notice. It's one of the highest alert areas in the world and has been for 50 years. I wonder what those guys are thinking now. Technically, South Korea, our ally, and North Korea are still at war. And now the armistice has been abandoned by North Korea. That means the shooting war's on again. Does that mean that North Korea is going to, fire some medium-range tactical nuclear weapons into South Korea? That would really mix things up, wouldn't it? And here at home, President Obama has appointed, and I am certain that the Senate will confirm, Judge Sonia Sotomayor to replace Justice Souter, who retired from the Supreme Court. Now, I expected Obama to appoint an extreme leftist as Supreme Court Justice. If he got the chance, I expected him to appoint someone on the far left. But still, it's a bit of a surprise that he would appoint Sonia Sotomayor, who, judging by her own words and her record, is a racist, a sexist, and a progressive judicial activist who gives no indication that she would be capable of or intend to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. I mean, that's just simply not in her record or in any of the things she's said. Quite the opposite. It appears to me, based on what she has said and what she has done, that her goal is to use the power of the courts to overthrow the Constitution of the United States. There is a legal process for modifying the Constitution. It can be done within the law. But the reason the progressives aren't doing it that way is because they cannot get enough support from the people. The people would never go for it. So, they appoint these judges who simply rule from the bench. Boom, the Constitution means something completely different. Even more disturbing is something that has been going around, and I don't really know if it's true. I haven't seen any hard evidence, but there's a lot of talk that the 789 dealer closings by Chrysler are politically motivated. In other words, the dealers who are being closed for political reasons, not economic reasons. It has been alleged that all but one of those 789 dealers were contributors to Republican candidates. If this is true, we have a real problem in this country. And I don't understand it. Do you really think that our Chicago community organizer would engage in that kind of politics? Take government control of a company and then put his political opponents out of business? Is that possible? Is it possible that our government has gotten that corrupt? I'd like to know what you think, because I have a real hard time believing it, and yet it appears to be true. It appears to be true. I have to tell you, folks, my head is just spinning. My head is spinning over what's going on in the domestic circle, and our enemies are looking at us, rubbing their hands and, rattling their sabers and getting ready to pounce. The Koreans and the Iranians are doing it pretty blatantly with their nuclear programs. What do you suppose Al-Qaeda's doing? Yes, friends and neighbors, it's going to be a really interesting few months ahead. I need to think about that some more. Fortunately, it's the end of the watch and time to splice the main brace.